Hi and welcome back to my playthrough of Merlin. First of all, thanks so much for all the feedback you provided and all your votes, which really made me believe, hey, you guys want to see at least a second episode of this playthrough of Merlin. And of course, this was no question for me. I will totally record another session right here and now. And to be honest, either the game is so brand new that no one knows the game better than I do right now, at least none of my viewers, or I really haven't messed things up during episode 1. Not so sure about this one. There were definitely some very poor decisions in respect to gameplay, but this is also because I really wanted to show you some of the stuff that this game offers, and I think I will continue to do some maybe not ideal decisions. And to be honest, I also haven't played this game that many times, whatever, to call myself a pro in this game, but I think I have at least a fair or a decent understanding of how this game should be played. But still, bear with me, I will do some stupid decisions in respect to strategy and whatnot, but yeah, keep in mind this is definitely something I do for you in order to show you most of the game aspects. Okay, yellow is the starting player, Zul, as you may remember, and I think she wants to move her knight first, so she will place the number 2 die here, 1-2 spaces, and in the bluish fishy kingdom or principality she wants to place her shield bearer. Their shield bearer is currently visiting the black principality with 3 of her other dudes, to be honest, but in this case she will just relocate this guy, move him here. This guy will be sent back right to the player board or the game player castle or castle board or whatever it's referred to. And now of course she can take the action here, which in this case means she will take one of those shields. First of all, this is good. She has a blue traitor which she has to defend from. And the second thing is, as she now has her shield bearer in the blue kingdom, she can score her mission card here for an additional victory point. Then it's blue. He also wants to place his 2 die here, 1-2 spaces, in order to build another manor. And as he still has a gray stone or building material, I think he wants to place that manor into this base here. This is also one from the Queenie 1 mini expansion, and this pretty much allows him to take Excalibur, which he will place onto his game board here, and this allows him to remove one of his traitors. As he just passed the purple principality, I think he wants to get rid of that traitor here. Then it's red. Red wants to move to the orange principality, the fox here, and I think he wants to increase his influence, so he will place his lady here. Now he will send the yellow lady back to Zul, and of course this allows him to place one influence stone into the orange principality. And overall this really gives you, let's say, a very good way in order to be more flexible in your overall decisions. Back to yellow Zul pretty much, and I think she will spend an apple in order to transform this 5 into a 4. So let's move her knight 4 spaces here to the purple principality, and there she will place yet another, or her lady back there again, so which allows her to increase her influence to another principality, which is huge. And now she can fulfill yet another mission. This was one of the missions that was on display pretty much, but she doesn't complain and is pretty happy with her victory point. Blue also will spend an apple in order to transform this 3 into a 1, which lets him move into the orange principality. And I think there he wants to place his shield bearer in order to take the shield. And so right now he's already 50% safe from those traitors here. And keep in mind, he just got Excalibur, so if he would be able to pretty much get or be able to defend from both of those traitors, he would score an additional 3 victory points. Then it's red, and he wants to move Merlin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces here to the dragon principality. And I think he wants, he wants to move his shield bearer here, which gives him one of those shields, which he really needs in order to defend from those traitors. Then it's back to yellow. She also wants to move Merlin counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces into this principality. She will relocate her flag bearer in order to give her one flag, and I'm only doing this. The power is not too bad because this allows you or your knight pretty much to take the action on the opposite side of the round table, but I kind of messed up for her strategy, so this way she will be able to make at least one victory point with her next move. Then it's the last blue die for the blue player. He will move his knight accordingly. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to the brown principality. And I think he will send his lady to the court in order to increase his influence, because right now he was really only present down in the gray principality, and you really have to have at least 1 or 2 or maybe even better 3 different locations on the board. There seems to be something very cool going on here in the brown principality, because the red player wants to move there too. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. And I think he also wants to send his lady there. So the blue lady is being sent back to the blue player. And now he also has an influence here. Right now red is tied in different places, but so is blue as well. So right now only yellow is happy. And Sul still has the Holy Grail, which allows her to break ties, but only once per scoring. So not on all of those locations. And then it's already the last die for the yellow player. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this space gives you pretty much 1 victory point for each flag you have, which was the only reason why I sent Merlin back to the brown principality, because this way she will be able to score at least 1 victory point. So let's do that, but overall she's doing fine anyway. Then it's the last die for blue, and that's the Merlin die. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, this allows you to place one of your henchmen in a principality where you have at least 1 influence. And I think in this case, he now wants to move his flag bearer to this principality. First of all, this allows him to gain the brown flag, which is not too bad for him. And on top of this, he can fulfill this mission card here, which scores him an additional victory point. And then last but not least, it's the last die for the red player. He will move his knight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces here, so he will also be allowed to place 1 henchman in a region or in a principality where it's influence. And I think in this case he wants to send the shield bearer to the blue principality. So overall that's not too bad, because right now 2 of the henchmen of the yellow player are out or away from the board, so she will not score as many victory points at this point in time at least. And of course he gets the blue shield here, which he will need in order to fulfill a mission card at some point in time. Okay, end of round. Let's re-roll all of those dice. That's for the blue player, and again I will do the other dice for the other players off camera. Blue is the starting player, and before he will do anything, he will play a mission card. So that's the shield, the flag bearer, and the builder, and therefore he just scored an additional victory point. Let's not forget his action. He wants to move Merlin first to the black principality here. So let's send her a lady there. And yet again, he's tied with the yellow player once more. She was really getting so many victory points by the end of the round 2. Really, the other players now said, okay, this has to stop. We have to do something against that. Then it's red. He wants to move his knight 1, 2, 3 spaces here. And I think here he wants to move his flag bearer to the white or gray principality in order to take this flag. And this flag is pretty cool because it allows you to basically complete a second mission during your turn. And if you do that, you will gain 2 extra victory points for that second mission. But you don't get the extra points if you only fulfill 1 mission, of course. Then it's yellow, and as we are coming closer to a scoring round, I think she wants to build another mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 spaces here. She has a black building material, and with that she can really do maximum damage right now. In theory, she could also go here, because this would then more or less result in a tie in this region. So she would not leave this region here. But right now there is another big region waiting down there, which she could score on her own. And yeah, I think this is what she will do. Absolutely. So she will place her mana into this space. Now all the other players cannot choose either to give up one shield or one building material, which is really bad for the blue player, because right now he doesn't have any building materials whatsoever. So he is now forced to give away his only shield, and he was really hoping to score some points with Excalibur, and now he has to be afraid in order not to suffer any penalties there. But I think red decides to give up one of his building, or he only has one building material, but I think he can live with that being taken away. Then it's blue, and yeah, he's really cursing like crazy. He will spend his 2, but he will also spend his purple flag, and the purple flag will allow him to basically show the other side, the opposite side of that die. So this is now a 5. This flag goes back to the principality where it came from. So he will move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces here, and this now allows him to put a henchman into a principality where he has influence. And right now this really needs to go in this principality in order to do some damage control. So he will take one of those shields, which will decrease his penalty by the end of this round by 3 points, if he will not be able to get the orange flag somehow. I really have to see if I can do that somehow. Then it's red, and I think red may have a tricky turn now. So he will move Merlin 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces here. Here he will relocate his shield bearer in order to take the dove shield, which he really needs in order to defend from the traitors. As he now has the blue shield, the gray flag, and at least one influence in the orange principality, he will now score this mission card worth 3 victory points. But we are not done yet. Right after he resolved or completed this mission, he will now spend his flag. Right now this is no longer needed for that, in order to complete a second mission, which he can do down there, because he has the shield and the flag bearer both in one principality for another victory point. But as this flag gives him 2 additional victory points for the second mission, he will now score 6 victory points in total, and this is really, really huge. So way to go, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victory points in total. Awesome stuff. Then it's back to yellow, and I think she also needs to move Merlin 1, 2 spaces here in order to exchange. This is really kind of a waste, so she will exchange the brown flag with a brown shield, and she really needs that shield because she also has 2 traitors waiting here, and you really need 1 shield per traitor, or you have that black flag, which is also cool, but there was no way she could get the black flag, unfortunately. Then it's blue. He will move his knight 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces here. He gets a flag out of a principality where he has influence, and right now he really has to take the black flag. Right now that's pretty much 6 victory points net, because he's not losing any points, and he will be able to defend from all of the traitors. He will gain 3 victory points because he still holds Excalibur, so I think for him this is still a pretty good move. And here's more bad news for Zul, because red will take the Holy Grail away from her, and therefore he also gains an additional apple, which brings his apple stock to a 3. So if he will not use those apples until the end of the game, this is still worth 3 victory points in total, which is not bad in this game. As yellow is no longer holding the Holy Grail, she will move her yellow knight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces here into the Grey Kingdom. And I think there she wants to move her lady in waiting in order to increase her influence. So right now this principality is worth 3 victory points in total, and she has the majority. So overall that's definitely not a bad turn for her. And then it's blue. He will spend his last blue die. He will also spend his blue flag, which allows his knight to move backwards 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces in. Again, he can now place a henchman or send a henchman into a principality where he has influence. And I think in this case he wants to break the ties up there. So he will send the lady in waiting back. He will increase his influence there, and I think, yeah, he should also be able now to score that mission card with 4 henchmen. This is no problem at all, so he gets at least an additional victory point. Red is really on fire, it seems, so he will now spend his last die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces here. And I think because he's currently holding the Holy Grail, he will also send his lady to that location. So he will also increase his influence that location. Unfortunately, he cannot score any victory points right now, but overall I think this is still something he can live with. And last but not least, it's yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So she can now exchange stuff, and it's not really great, but I think it's may still be worth it. So she will give up one of her brown shields. Hey, why are you doing this? Are you crazy? No, I'm not. In exchange for this black flag here. So with 1 flag she will be able to remove both of the traitors, and this would then leave her with 1 shield in her back pocket for the possible next round of traitors maybe. Okay, let's do the scoring. We will start with the traitors again. So he will spend his black flag in order to remove that stack of traitors, and those traitors are fended off with that, which is cool. He holds Excalibur, and therefore he scores 1, 2, 3 more points. With red, I really did pay attention, to be honest, so he's now lacking 1 shield, which is really, really bad. This shouldn't have happened, so yeah, bear with me, it's all my fault. So he will now get a penalty of 3 points, and this was really not necessary. Very poor. But then it's yellow. She will give up her black flag in order to remove that stack of traitors. Those have been fended off, or this traitor has been fended off, so overall she's not suffering any penalties this round. Then we score the manners, and wow, this is really looking good for blue and for yellow. So blue scores 3 points here, 2 points here, that's 5 points for blue, 5 points for yellow, and only 2 points for red. That's really bad. Then it's influence. Red will use the Holy Grail in this principality, therefore he will score 2 points. Here it's 3 points for blue. 1, 2, 3. And keep in mind that after a scoring in a principality, you will have to reduce your influence cubes down to only 1. So you always can leave, or you always will leave 1 cube behind, but any excess will be sent back to your game board or player board. Here both yellow and blue will get a victory point. Down there it's 3 victory points for yellow. And in total we have 2 more victory points here for red and 1 more victory point for yellow. So overall things are not looking too bad, so we're still very close to each other, but I think I did some very stupid decisions for the red player. I was really keen on fulfilling those mission cards in order to show you those combinations. It was pretty cool because he got some victory points out of that, but he lost 3 victory points right away when we did the scoring for those traitors. But yeah, I think overall you should get the picture. Of course we are not done yet, we still have to score our henchmen on the board. So that's 4 more points for blue, 3 more points for red, and only 2 points for yellow. And of course I must not forget to remove one of those yellow influence stones. Okay, next we would re-roll all of those dice. We would move the starting player ground over to the red player, and then we would start off a new round. I think by now you should have a good understanding of how this game actually plays, what you can do, what you cannot do, and what you should do, and you really should pay more attention, at least more than I did, at least for the red player at some points in the game. But I think overall you should really have a good impression of how this game actually feels. I'm okay doing a, let's say, final episode of a playthrough, really playing the 2 final rounds of Merlin. Just let me know and I will keep everything set up here accordingly. And yeah, I hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and until then, bye bye.